One fear lives in the mind. First fear. It's often less about what is happening around us and more about what is happening inside our minds. Long before we face a challenge, the mind begins to imagine difficulties, pain, or rejection. It creates a picture of what could go wrong, and this picture can feel as real as the event itself. For example, before speaking in public, many people experience worry, not because an audience has harmed them, but because their mind has already painted a scene of failure. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, observed that it is not events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. This means that fear often arises from the meaning we give to a situation rather than from the situation itself. The body reacts to the thoughts the mind produces, and this reaction can feel like proof that danger is present, even when it is not. Think about the opportunities you may have avoided because of fear. Words left unspoken, chances you never tried, or moments you stepped back instead of forward. These decisions were not made because harm was certain, but because the mind imagined harm in advance. The Stoic teacher, Epictetus, reminded us that people suffer more in imagination than in reality. Understanding this allows us to see fear more clearly. If fear is mostly a construction of the mind, then recognizing it as such already reduces its power. When we notice that a large part of fear exists only in thought, we gain space to act with more calmness. Instead of shrinking away, we can move forward with awareness, knowing that the picture in the mind does not always match the truth of the moment. To facing fear with action and disciplined courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward even when fear is present. Many people wait for the day when fear will disappear before they act, but that day rarely comes. The truth is that fear often stays in some form, and the way to lessen its hold is by acting alongside it. When you choose to speak, even though your voice is unsteady, you are practicing discipline. When you take a step, even though your heart is racing, you are showing strength. These small actions may not remove fear entirely, but they remind you that it does not control your choices. The Stoic philosophers often emphasize this idea. Epictetus said that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. This suggests that fear is often larger in thought than it is in experience. By taking action, you test the story your mind has created. Many times, you find that the imagined outcome was far worse than what actually happens. Discipline plays an important role here. It is the steady practice of doing what is needed, even when feelings push you in another direction. Discipline allows you to move through hesitation, to take the step before fear grows louder. It does not require dramatic gestures. Even small, consistent actions build confidence over time. Facing fear with action does not mean ignoring it. It means acknowledging its presence, but refusing to let it decide your path. Each time you act with discipline, you reduce the space fear has in your life. Over time, you'll learn that courage is not about feeling fearless, it is about choosing movement. When fear would prefer you to stand still. 3. Fear in modern life, in the past. Fear often came from physical dangers in the world, wild animals, battles, or the struggle to survive. But in modern life, fear has taken a different form. Most people are not facing constant physical threats, yet fear still shapes their choices. Today, it often comes from social pressure, judgment, and the worry of not meeting expectations. Think about how often people hesitate to share their ideas because they are concerned about what others might think. Or how many remain silent in a meeting because they imagine criticism before a single word is spoken. These are not dangers in the traditional sense, but they can feel just as heavy because the mind treats judgment as a kind of threat. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, once said that a person who fears death will never truly live. The same thought applies when we replace death with rejection, failure, or loss. If we constantly avoid the possibility of discomfort, we also avoid growth. Life becomes smaller not because danger is real, because imagined judgment keeps us from moving forward. Modern fear also grows in environments where comparison is constant. The opinions of others can reach us instantly, and it is easy to become trapped in worrying about how we appear. But when we step back, we see that these opinions hold no lasting power unless we give them control. Understanding fear in this way allows us to respond differently. Instead of treating judgment or rejection as something to avoid at all costs, we can accept them as natural parts of life. By doing so, we free ourselves from invisible limits. Fear loses strength when we recognize it is not the event itself, but the meaning we attach to it that unsettles us. For the mastery of fear, mastering fear does not mean living without it. A life completely free from risk or uncertainty does not exist. The aim is not to erase fear, but to build a steady relationship with it, one where fear does not guide every choice. The Stoics understood this difference. They did not imagine a fearless person. They practiced becoming someone who could act wisely, even while fear was present. True strength is shown in the ability to remain steady when the mind begins to create worry. Instead of reacting quickly or avoiding a situation, mastery is the calm pause, the small step forward, or the choice to continue despite discomfort. This steady approach weakens the influence of fear because it proves that we can carry it without being controlled by it. Discipline plays an important role here. Discipline means choosing action that aligns with your values, even when emotions pull you in another direction. It might look like waking early to meet responsibilities, speaking with honesty in a difficult moment, or continuing a task even when motivation fades. Each time discipline takes the lead, fear becomes smaller. Aristotle once noted that overcoming fear leads to freedom. This freedom is not about living in a world without challenges, but about living in a mind that does not create unnecessary limits. By meeting fear with calm choices, we discover that much of its power comes from avoidance. Facing it directly often shows it to be less than what the imagination suggested. Mastery of fear is, therefore, not dramatic or sudden. It is practiced daily in small decisions. Over time, these decisions shape a steady inner strength, one that allows us to move through life with clarity even when uncertainty is present.